boils, scabs, lesions, bodily discharges? Seriously? Passover is less than 2 weeks away. Stick around and I'll explain how biblical leprosy is very similar to leaven, and I'll also explain that Torah's commentary surrounding leprosy was demonstrating God's compassion to his people in this 5-minute Torah commentary. Shalom, I'm Darren with Emet HaTorah, where we connect disciples of Yeshua to the eternal Torah of God. If you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications, and don't miss out on any important updates. In today's video, I'm going to highlight 3 things you need to know about this week's Torah portion, and then I'll go into the commentary on this week's Torah portion. Also, you'll find links to everything I talk about in the video in the description box below. Make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to tell you how you can pick up a ton of free resources to help you get ready for Passover. Happy Rosh Chodesh, everyone. Yes, we are in the biblical month of Nisan. This month begins the religious new year of the biblical calendar and the month of Passover. And if you haven't chosen Haggadah to use for your Seder yet, there's still time to pick up a copy of my Cup of Redemption Messianic Haggadah using the links below. Here are 3 things you need to know about this week's Torah portion. Number 1, the Torah portions Tazria and Metzora are normally read together as one Torah portion. However, since we're in a biblical leap year, Tazria and Metzora are read as separate Torah portions this year. Number 2, Metzora covers the purification rituals for, number 1, leprosy, tzara'at, and bodily discharges. Number 3, while these laws seem completely irrelevant for us today, they were critical for Israel in a time when the tabernacle or the temple stood, because ritual impurity limited participation for those who would enter the tabernacle or the temple in order to worship. This week's 5-minute Torah commentary is called the Leaven of Leprosy. The Torah discusses a lot of gross things in the last 2 Torah portions. Why? Was it to embarrass us? No, it was actually to show God's compassion. Let me explain. First, it wasn't the symptoms of tzara'at, biblical leprosy, that made a person unclean or ritually impure. They could walk around with the symptoms for a year or years without ever becoming tameh, ritually impure or unclean. Only the ruling of the Kohen, the priest, could determine a person as tameh and render him a metzora, a leper. The goal of the pronouncement was twofold. 1, to restore the individual, and 2, to protect the community. Both the potential Metzora and the Kohen had to undergo a series of rigorous procedures to diagnose the illness and determine whether or not the person would be pronounced a Metzora, that is, a leper. The procedure extended over the course of weeks and gave the Kohen, the priest, an opportunity to counsel his patient and put him on the proper path. What do I mean? Let me explain. Tzara'at, biblical leprosy, is not the same thing we call leprosy today. The type of leprosy we see today is known as Hansen's disease. Hansen's disease is a chronic but curable infectious disease that causes skin lesions and nerve damage. Because of the nerve damage, often a leper will unknowingly injure himself, and the wound ends up getting infected, leading to the loss of limbs. Tzara'at, again, biblical leprosy, is a spiritual disease caused by lashon hara, evil speech. The fact that it's a spiritual malady and not an infectious or communicable disease can be verified by the fact that the Torah declares a person with tzara'at ritually pure if the disease has covered their entire body. Something to think about. The Kohen had a huge responsibility. He had the power to cut this person off from the community with a single word. This is why he did everything in his power to turn the person from their destructive path. Once he saw that the person had gone too far, however, he had the responsibility to protect the community by pronouncing him a metzora, a leper, and segregating him from his community. Why? Because Hashem knows that gossip, slander, and evil speech are all contagious. It's like leaven that has worked itself through a batch of dough. The Apostle Paul tells the disciples at Corinth, "Do you not know that a little leaven leavens the whole lump? Cleanse out the old leaven that you may be a new lump, as you really are unleavened. For Christ, our Passover lamb, has been sacrificed. Let us therefore celebrate the festival not with the old leaven, the leaven of malice and evil, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 6 through 8. Well, there we have it, the leaven of leprosy. May we all use our speech for good, speaking only what is true, what is honorable, what is just, what is pure, what is lovely, what is commendable, what is excellent, and what is worthy of praise. We will all be better disciples and better people if we do. Like I promised, here's your bonus content. If you use the link below to subscribe to our mailing list, and it doesn't matter if you're already subscribed or not, you'll be able to download a bundle, a ton of PDF documents to help you get ready for Passover. The first one is called The Question of Leaven. What is leaven and what is not? I offered this in the last week's commentary, but I'm going to offer a lot more with it. The second one is called Ritual Hand Washing. Was Yeshua against ritual hand washing? The third one actually includes 2 documents that will help you get rid of your chametz, your leaven and leaven products for Passover. They are called B'rekat Chametz and Biur Chametz. The fourth one is called Why the Egg, and examines the question of whether or not the egg on the Seder plate is of pagan origin. The fifth one is called 10 Great Steps for Your Best Passover. The sixth one is a series of Passover activities for your children, such as coloring sheets, word searches, and mazes. The last one is a breakdown of the Seder plate, where things should go, what they are for, and so forth. I hope you enjoy them and they make your Seder more meaningful this year than ever before. Please do us a favor and like this video. Share it on your social media networks like Facebook and Twitter. It helps me more visible on YouTube and reach more people to promote both Yeshua and the Torah from a Messianic perspective. And if you missed last week's video, you can click the link right here to watch it. Shavua Tov from Emet HaTorah.